Well, I think I'm going to be passing the Pantheon before I get to the Musée Cluny. And of course, the Pantheon is also on my list of places to go today. Uh, so the question is, should I go there first? I think they open at 10. This is the Pantheon up here. Wow. So, okay. So, okay, Pantheon. Let's do Pantheon first. See if they're really open for business free of charge today, as was indicated on the website I perused, or not. And we'll take it from there. So this is the Pantheon, where many very famous French people have been buried downstairs in the crypt. Wow. I'm looking at the architecture as usual. They crack me up at this point. At this point, they crack me up. Like, I just don't know. What were they smoking? What were they eating? What were they drinking? Like, what created this? You know what I'm saying? It's just amazing. Just like the churches, it's just a whole time frame of just, I don't know. Maybe I should just not speak, lest I should say something stupid. But my goodness, my goodness, my goodness. So yeah, I mean, a lot of famous people, especially men, are buried here. I think the first woman was buried in the Pantheon in the 1990s, like 1995, something like that. And who was it? I think it was Marie Curie, who was a scientist, and she sort of um, discovered radioactivity or something like that. So she was the first woman to be buried there. We have a lot of very famous writers in the Pantheon, such as Victor Hugo, who wrote The Hunchback of Notre Dame and Les Misérables. And you have Voltaire and Émile Zola, people like that, all buried there. And the Pantheon in Paris was modeled after the Pantheon in Rome. I almost said Greece, but I think it was in Rome. And it was initially a church, okay? So it was, and you can see that. I mean, a lot of the interior, just the way it's structured, the pillars, the Corinthian columns, just everything. It's like a grand church, really. But I think one of the French kings turned it into this place that after um, well, no, I mean he basically turned it into a place where you bury important people. And no, he didn't. I think what he did was he commissioned a church, Louis XV. But it was after the revolution that the government turned it into the Pantheon, I think. Don't quote me. Don't quote me on anything, okay? And so basically the architecture is basically Gothic, and neoclassical, obviously. It's Roman architecture. And yeah, that's about it for the Pantheon. It's in the Latin Quarter near the Sorbonne. And I think that down in the crypt, you have all of the important people who have been buried there, such as Marie Curie and her husband, also Monsieur Pierre Curie is also buried there. Voltaire, Zola, Jean Jacques Rousseau, all of those people are buried down in the crypt. And yeah, it's really, I think, a very stunning, just stunning. Honestly, I was stunned. I mean, this could have been my second or third visit. I've definitely been there before, but you forget if you don't sort of, try to go at least once a year, once every 2 years or something like that. You start to forget because there's so many of these types of amazing places in Paris that they start to merge in your head, and you can't sort of distinguish which was which and when did you go, and oh my gosh. And so even though I had gone there before at least once, that had to have been back in the 2003, I would say, with SUNY New Paltz, and I think it was with SUNY New Paltz, so that would be like 2003, something like that. So I mean, that's a long time ago. That's like 20 years ago. This is supposed to lead to the crypt where the people are buried, including, I believe, Marie Antoinette. No. Marie Antoinette is at Saint Denis, the Basilique Saint Denis, where I also would like to go today, but it's a lot. I don't think I don't know. I have too many things on my list for one day, and I don't know if it's going to be rational or even logical or reasonable to get it done. So yeah, no, Marie Antoinette definitely is buried in Saint Denis. That was, I think, her second burial place and her final resting place before she and her husband were, like Louis XVI, were thrown into some, hole like animals. Initially, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, and then
tomb
they were
is
moved.
this?
But yeah.
Who is it? Monsieur J.G. Soufflot.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Nice. If you have to die, then you might as well have a tomb like that, right? People can come and look at you, and you stand by there, your ghost watchers as they come and look at you and admire the beautiful architecture into which you were placed. Wow. I think I have too many things on my list today, though. I don't see it. My camera's not going to be able to keep up. It really isn't.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But it's a lot of filming, and I think I'm going to max out not just my battery, but also my bandwidth. Because there's so much to take. I mean, this just the stonework in this building is just like, wow, you just want to photograph every second of it, but it's just not possible. It really isn't possible. But I will do the best to Saint Louverture. Okay. I love the stonework. Don't you love the stonework? These are all tombs, by the way. Marceline Berthelot. What is that? Is that like a street or a bibliothèque? Something has that name. You realize that everything, every street, every metro, everything is named after somebody in history in this country, which is, I like that about what they do, is that way they never forget their people and their history. And I think that's really, really clever, frankly. I think everybody should do that, but at this point, it's probably too late for a lot of people. They've already lost all the history, all the people who were there before them, who contributed, who did things that were important. And that is why history is important. I mean, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm actually saying that, because then I'm not somebody who keeps up necessarily with history to the extent that I should in some instances. In others, I do try to keep up. But, it's important to keep Leon Gambetta. Gambetta, that's definitely some kind of metro